Let's go. Good evening, friends. What's going on? Pop out the old chat ski here. Put her over there. Alrighty. Looks like we're all good to go here, or close to. Right. Hope you guys are having a pretty good weekend. We'll be rolling in here today, checking out stream. We're going to go over some SPY breakdowns. We'll talk about the futures overnight here as well. Actually, probably just started the futures. That makes more sense. So we're obviously live right now with the Futies. Just opening up a little bit ago. Still have a couple short trades on right now as she's slowly tipping over. We averaged into some sorts around 21,768. A little over 20 points right now and rolling down. NQ should snap down here pretty quick. Pretty fast here. 21,717 will be the out for my short because we have anchor VWAPs. It's going to be about 50 points. You're part of our little Discord over here. This is what our trade looks like, which we're cruising with right now. Just updating everybody. We had a beautiful open on the gap down. Obviously war news. Obviously some deadliness. We're looking right here at this 1 minute candle, going to the 1618 resistance, and then walking itself back down to the 1 minute anchor catch up. So you can see some of our short position starts up here. Take profit 2 out of 3. And we're up. What are we up right now? Another 500. We're locked in 900. We're open 520. So we're down at 21,742. And this is where my order out is right here. It's above the 1 minute anchor. So we're riding down right now. Pretty good short throughout the open so far. Now, let's get into some of the stuff that we have needed to talk about. What's up, my friends? Good evening. All right, so as far as futures are concerned, we'll start here. We talked a little bit about this on stream last week. So here's going to come all of our little predictions. It'll be quick videos. Want to get you guys some cash money. Sending out the love here since we had a bunch of schedule changes with the kiddos, and we just haven't been live as much for the weekend classes, which we're going to turn those into weekly classes this week. So we'll see you guys on a weekday. Check X. We'll update you as we go. So coming into the Futies, the open, as you see, we're under a GP. So the whole setup right now is utilizing prior day GP, right? So every time we come in, we set up a high-low of the prior day Fibonacci. And the rule states, if we are under yesterday's lows, you would start watching the extension, walking down to that 1618. If we are inside yesterday's lows, you'd be looking back to golden pocket, right? 21,833. So what we have right here, order filled. Just got a BE there, locked in 900 times 3, as we posted in chat. So we're looking long to the GP right now. And what we're looking for is an anchor catch up. Let me go grab. We'll grab these accounts right here. These are all paused right now, waiting for payouts still. All right. So on the intraday trade, we'll go over this real fast here. So we have that opening 1 minute to the 1618, did not come back down for the anchor, did not come back down for the anchor. So you're looking for any old run back to the anchor to long it back up to the GP. That's the intraday trade. That's it. So if you are under the 1618, you can come down to this anchor right here that's created from minute number 1. That's going to be chasing action. And as you know, open, high, low, close 4 is what I use here on this anchor. And on the 1 minute, we have right here no tags. So that's the opening 1 minute candle, obvious gap down from all the war headlines. But we're looking for a short right now to it, and then a hold of that long to come back up and then fail later. Okay, so let's explain past just that little day trade what we are working on right now in the grand scheme of the macro. So yesterday's high low. Let's make sure this is perfecto. There we go. All right, we're gonna look at this at the 5 minute. So as we roll into this, we got yesterday's high low. We have the golden pocket, obviously, right where the close is, right? So we're going to expect that we can get some moving average tags to give us a little rejection here, right? Hit that 100 EMA, but as long as we are on trend and holding the anchors, we should make it up to 21,832.70, right? As long as we're above yesterday's lows, unless it wants to leave this GP open, which again, we'll reassess it in the morning. Like I said, no real live trading here tonight as we're going to let all of the war headlines digest. So being inside yesterday's lows does give us the opportunity to hold and push towards the GP. Now, that is just the day trade for now, right? So I'm macro buy a short now. So you've heard me say a little bit about getting under the 10 SMA trend, right? And finally breaking structure. Well, let's look at our oscillation indicators here. We're going to do this just on NQ because we talked a little bit about this last week on Friday. And we're going to come right into those oscillation indicators. Now, oscillation indicators, we look for divergence, especially in the daily chart. That's one of my favorites. So since we gapped over that 200 SMA and the salmon peach color here, that is a daily 200 SMA, we've been pushing higher lows, higher highs on trend, just holding that 10 SMA. Now, if you look, some of these higher highs, right, and you look down here associating with the oscillation indicators, we're not really getting any higher highs on the RSI, right? We did get hot, and then after a hot RSI on the daily, you generally look for the opposite, but price action can continue while the oscillation indicators slowly give you a divergent signal, right? So that divergence in the signals down here on the MACD as well, you are getting increased sell pressure as we are coming off those highs. And we're not quite down yet, but this is the point where we start watching those macro ideas short. So we opened up under that 10 SMA right here, daily in the blue. And I want to see anything under the GP right here be a fail point to head back down. Now, I sold, if you're part of my stream here, some SPY 600s on Friday. So right at the open, I seen it push. Right here, 600. It bailed it, so I waited till like right here at the open. I said, you know what, screw you guys. I'm going to sell a bunch of 600s on calls. And I think it's for next week, and I think we're just going to stay under 600. So we failed for the rest of the day. These premiums are looking pretty good. So as we move into next week here, we'll have like 590 per stack of call sells. And then that's granted we stay under. Now, leading into the end of June, sentiment-wise, the last couple of weeks here in June generally don't end up too great. And that's just historic sentiment, right? So if we come back here to like a SPY daily chart, I do want to have you guys notice that we are moving into the same divergence, obviously, as we're going to see on that NQ, right? We're going to start heading down towards those gaps. So you know me, I've been looking for the 10 SMA loop, the swoop, and then the fail, right? And the highest point of interest for us was the second to the last candle GP, or third to last, of the all-time high. So for my predictions and on the videos that you can see in the last few weeks and the big live videos, we had this prediction here. So this right here is a golden pocket 2 days after the all-time high breakdown, right? 613.23 being the all-time high. This candle was created to the downside, and notice there is no golden pocket tag. So the highest point I wanted to see SPY was 604.91 area, which is the 50 fib of this high-low range. So let's go back into the 5-minute chart. You can kind of see where I lied. We'll go to 30-30. You can see where this comes in on the intraday or longer standing time frames. Now we opened up, we came exactly to that golden pocket and then started failing. Structure break lower low, even though it was after hours. One more sweep to highs, breaking these highs. But if we could not break through that last GP, obviously we're heading down. And we're getting live lower low, lower low, lower low, and I'm sorry, I went lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low, live of last trade Friday as well. So on the way down on this perfect little setup right here, let's take a peek at the fibs again. You're going to notice right on that SPY, we have the divergence, right? We're seeing the MACD breaking down for quite some time, a little faster. They're almost a week and a half. And the price action during that breakdown, right, still hitting highs or very close to, right? Same with the RSI. And that was back here where the RSI started to break back down. The market was still pushing out traps, right? So for me, a 10 SMA loop is when that price action on the daily chart is going to come in, break under the 10, loop, swoop. And this was the highest point where I said I'd start selling calls around 600, so on and so forth, because this last golden pocket on, like we just covered, close to all-time highs. So anything under that GP and walking ourselves back down, we're going to start targeting the zones we've been talking about, okay? So let's clean this up a little bit. And now negate. Now, two things can happen here. We could catch a little 50 RSI support if you did not see that. The halfway point on the RSI, we look at over hot there, over 70, cold 30, but 50 is kind of that middle point for us. So if that RSI does come back down here at that 50 and temporary bounces and then continues with dragging that MACD, we're going to keep on keeping on to the short side sentiment, right? And this is just a relax. I don't care if it goes to all-time high later, but we have some serious things to come back and test here that we will not leave open for, you know, a majority of the rest of the year, I don't think. I think if it wants to see all-time highs moving in 2025, the end of June here and then cracking back down July and then seeing what, you know, kind of earnings and whatever we move into next will be the catalyst to move back up. Great. Well, the gap right here is one of the biggest things that we have targeted so far for the downside. So the biggest catalyst was under yesterday, or under 10 SMA, starting to get the breakdown, because that's a little bit of a mini structure break, right? If this was the last higher low and we didn't get a higher high, we have now broken into a lower low from the last higher low, right? And moving down, we have a couple easy targets here so far. We have a no GP tag right here. So we're going to expect into the 589, 590 area. And then into the end of June, we're going to come for our biggest target, the gap fill. And if you've been trading with me or been watching around the YouTubes, which I'm not very large, so if you just found us, grads, thanks for sticking around. But I'm very gap heavy on trades and algorithms, right? So when we created this gap right here, we completely went over the 200 SMA, right? And then it pushed up. We said 10 SMA loop's going to come down, hit the 200, and it's going to go back long, right? But the other catalyst to that long was this gap's first tag. So I'm very adamant on when a gap is created on the daily chart and it starts pushing, we have a higher percentile chance to dip into this gap right here, right? And then from the gap, it does not fill first time it's inside the gap. It actually poses an opposite reaction. So when the gap was created to the time the price action returned to the gap for the first time, first tag, more often than not every time, there's no such thing as 100% indicator in the stock market, don't be silly. As the first time price action comes into this gap, higher percentile chance it will take off and go the other way, thus just tagging into the gap and then continuing trend. Well, we did that for weeks now. We've been consolidating up here for weeks now. Now we're going to look for that opposing move under the 10 SMA if we stay there. If not, it's just going to continue towards highs, and we do have, you know, an all-time high chance to make. That doesn't matter to us. We're confirmation traders, right? And we sell stuff with time. So as we close down the lower low, that's good for us under 600, because even if it does pop up just, you know, a little bit to the GP, which of course we play the same thing as we always do, as we just talked about on the futures, we're going to come into tomorrow morning looking at this right here, and we're going to say, okay, well, our future's just going to chop for the night, or we're going to come back up, fill the GP on NQ and ES beforehand. But regardless, this is what we're going to look for. Inside yesterday's close, into the GP. Outside yesterday's close in the body, extensions continue to the short side, right? Like always. So we might be waiting for that in the morning. We're not going to make too much predictions overnight for the futures. We're going to let this thing kind of digest into the short, and we're going to hopefully push back up to the futures golden pockets, the ones that are active right now, because obviously the futures contracts trade all night. And if we can get ES or NQ to come back and tag that GP before it breaks back down, great. If not, it's also not a big deal, because under yesterday's lows, which is going to be right here at 21,641.10, we're just going to keep on keeping on, right? No, we're just going to keep on the trend dominant to the downside, because again, futures did throw themselves over the 200 SMA on NQ. Trying to get a little better view here. NQ did throw themselves over the 200, never returned to the 200. So we call those magnets a lot of the time. So if we do start the speed closes, we start getting the volume, the MACD and the RSI is signaling right now that we are going to keep breaking down that 200 SMA daily. And of course, the gap are going to be our targets moving into the end of this month. So we generally close low on the end of June. It's just a sentiment thing. And that's what we're going to look for. Furthermore, just on SPY, we're going to talk anchors here a little bit. So I'm going to bring up, excuse me, friends. Sorry about that. Ooh, there we go. I'm going to bring up a little bit on the dailies here. I just want to talk a little bit about anchors real fast. From the daily, because I day trade with anchors and first tag metrics a lot, and recently it's getting better and better and better. So we're actually sticking with a lot more anchors and fibs, and that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to use past that. So let's put in a couple anchors here, and we're going to use gap association right away to pick our candles. So we have a gap and go right here on that NQ, and then we're going to place that marker of open, high, low, close 4 on the daily chart. Okay, so we're going to start right here at that gap up and go. We're going to have that open high low close 4. Then you just kind of see how that price action follows suit on that, right? Now, again, we broke through that, which we have done this before, and it has picked back up, but this is an early tag. Me in first tag metrics, how I scalp this stuff, like I did for, even like we explained it earlier in the live, we look for an anchor point to draw, and then when price action runs away, to return to that anchor to play this first tag to go long again, right? You see that on the 1 minute chart right here, coming in hot today. We're waiting for this to come back down. That's why we're in a short at this area, looking to come down to the anchor. Okay, first tag. Do you see a first tag? No. So your best case scenario is open high low close 4 in the minute, run, short the structure break. You got 2 little micro lower lows into lower high or BE'd, and that's going to come down to that anchor, and then hopefully head back up to that GP. If not, we're going to break anchor, slowly fulfill structure continuation to the downside, most likely under 6,000 for the ES, but as an NQ trader, we do like to watch either or. So I do trade a lot of NQ off of the SPY and the ES. Now, ES, very similar piece here before we get into the end of the daily predictions here. Just want to show you guys that opening 1 minute gap candle, right? And we do fib association with that. And for our Fibonacci rule of association, when we fib out a high low like this, and then it moves into the 1618, we generally want to see what? Down to the 100 before it pushes back up, right? We didn't get that. We actually went to the 1618 and then just ripped, right? So we're waiting for this thing to come all the way back down, catch that anchor, and then see if it wants to continue on up for that GP. But we rejected near 6,000, really good psychological, good little structure breaks on the minute here, low, lower high, continuing short to the anchor, right? And then we're just going to hopefully continue to the long side. So let's talk that last little bit here for the final predictions here. What are we actually looking at for the week, right? Well, under the 10 SMA, we discussed a bunch of times on SPY. We're going to see what that morning looks like, and I'll do some more pre-market videos tomorrow. So watch for those. We'll be, heavy on those. So let's talk anchors on ES. Now, gap down here, same exact stuff. Higher highs and lows stacked up, good trend. Now, looking at the last little couple breaks here we have on ES, we are getting some new lows in territory, right? Which means we want to look for the prior high-low, which is just Friday's candle, and anything inside can tag that golden pocket to continue lower. That is the macro thesis we need to continue watching. The last high, where you see this anchor, the orange, open high low close on candle 11, June of 2025. Notice the breaks, right? Closed way under, good rejection. Friday, great rejection, right? So we are staying under this last high's anchor. So as long as we're staying under that 6,055 area, and we're going to move that down to 6,030 here. So we're going to look for that continuation down of these lower lows still breaking, right? So this beautiful little anchor has to hold as resistance, and this GP getting tagged and having a continuation would be best case scenario, because these little structure lower lows would then help us pop to another lower high and continue that trend. So the gap down here is also going to be one of those obvious places of interest. Now, you know me in Fibonacci, that's my go-to always. And the 3618 has been one of our most fun extensions that we have. If you notice, that is right dead on the gap 5780. That 3618 lined up with the gap, lined up with the Fibonacci, is going to create a nice magnet. So if this is the great short that's setting up under 6,000, under 600 on the SPY, we are going to call anything under 6,000, anything under 600 SPY, continuation on trend. So again, we need lower highs, lower lows to stack up. You don't just randomly pick a level and hope for the best. And guess, we don't do that. We are traders here. We will always adjust to the market conditions. We're going to delete this real quick just to give you a visual. So anything under that 6,000 point, even if it pops back up to the GP tonight because it's a little static, we're going to look for trend continuation of lower high, lower lows until we reach 5,780 for that gap fill. And then, of course, as we just did, the 3618 Fibonacci walking all the way back down. Now, we do have that candle association with confirmation here of trend because of those lower lows are stacking up. Lower highs on the wicks, lower lows down here on the candles. We're doing pretty good on trend sequencing down. One other thing I'd like to help with confirmation, as you see this anchor right here, open high, low close on the gap association as we talked about, any continuation of trend under, which again, we got 5993 right here, right? and you see a little bit of rejection point. Let's hope that pushes back through, finds that GP, continues hunting under 6,000 and under this anchor itself. Because again, you see that when this anchor was tested by all these wicks and support, shot up to highs, even when he had a heavy sell day, or heavy sell day, the 13th, perfect bounce on that anchor. Shot all the way back up to the top down anchor, down again, shot into the top down, shot into the top down, and then finally started getting some closes and some low breaks here under that anchor associated with having trend to the downside. So where's ES here? That is about it. That's the whole prediction. Anything under the 10 SMA daily, anything under 600, 6,000 trend continuation, the lower low that we set on Friday, even if it pops up to the GP or, you know, close to the 10, it has to set a little trap, right? So if this thing wants to trap one more time, no big deal there. If it opens up low here, puts in a big green candle or two, and then all of a sudden we get a catalyst later on in the week that plummets, we start seeing the drop, right? Because from this GP all the way down to the gap or even gap fill, we're talking like 5%. It's not too bad. I think we'll be okay with that, right? So that's all the predictions I want to see. Lower lows, first target, we'll put right here. That's going to be the node GP for tomorrow, T1. I will put on the short side of things. If under 600. Of course, over 600, we're just going to not worry about that. Reassess and watch for consolidation points. It's not spelled right, you silly. Let's get this back on there. Awesome. And then we're going to walk ourselves back down, continue looking for some of these targets to the downside. And again, I'm thinking, you know, the gap fill is going to be quite far away. We have a couple different other minor GPs to come down to. These were, you know, already tagged, but the candles with the no tag GPs that turned into tags still need, what the heck is that? Still need filled up here. So if we're talking candles like this, where these high-low points came down for the GP, ran the 1618, we still need these candles to fill. So I like to see if it breaks back inside that candle. So 591.44 being the top of this guy here. We want to see it break into that 100 fib, fill up into 578.53. So that's also going to help us with those under 10 SMA ranges. So everything for me is going to be target one short. We're going to be coming into 590 to 588.80s. I want to see this thing continuation under like so, down to filling some of those GPs, and I will see you guys down near some of these moving averages. Please do not be surprised if we start gapping through these to return. So if we start heading down candle by candle by candle here, let's clean this up one more time on the daily chart. There's a really good chance that as we're coming down to these golden levels, we're going to get to these moving averages and we might produce a gap right through them again and start creating candles to the downside where it gaps through there. Don't be surprised if that happens, but if we get some speed to the downside, we'll finally start tackling these gaps here. And then, of course, some of these other no tag GPs and gaps down, but we're not going to predict that far in advance. We're going to just watch the cracks that we see forming right here, even if it sets another trap, right? Nothing goes in a straight line. So if we come down to that 50 RSI here, bounces just a little bit up, you know, sets a little trap for the longs, delusion comes in, and then all of a sudden, whoop, you're still going to watch for that any short. I'm going to slowly roll into probably more 600 call sells this week, unless it obviously plummets overnight. We miss some kind of global catastrophe here that heads down, but we'll be looking at it from there. Let's give away some accounts and some free cash, I guess, whatever you want to call it, to the people that have been waiting. And big shout out to a member of mine, okay? When I'm... Why would it gap down below moving average? Just because it likes to, because we already have a gap down. So when we create gap speeds like that, when something speeds, we're going to get a catalyst to take us back down. Because a lot of the time a trap will come like this. It'll loop. It'll try to go long. It'll set the trap. It'll come down. And then when people start averaging into that long or slowly stopping out, it creates a giant gap and then does panic candles after that gap, similar to what it did here in the opposite fashion. So if I take this chart right here, put a minus sign in front of it, we can flip it, and this is kind of what I'm talking about right here, where you're going to slowly start to see it down, and then all of a sudden it gapped through the 200 and then just gave you a red wash and then back tested the 200 and continued. We see that a lot on panic speed moves, so there's a chance of it. We're not predicting that, hey, this is guaranteed to happen. We just say watch for it, because don't play big when we get near the moving averages is all I'm saying. We don't want to we don't want to magically just assume that, oh, there's a support right here at that 200, and people will come in and assume that that moving average is getting really close. Oh, we're probably going to bounce it. Not a chance. We already did it back here, homie. We already gapped it right here as well. So the next time we come back down here and see it, there's a really good chance of gapping right through them and just speed candling down to start chasing the real targets like gap fill, GP no tag, so on and so forth. So there is a really, really, really good metric for that. Minus sign voodoo for sure. Mason doesn't win. It's fixed. We'll see. All right, but big shout out to one of my members here at Boiler and Trading. I just want to say this. He didn't want to be shouted out by name, but he reached out on X and he gave us extra cash just to give back to the community, period. That's it. So he gave us an extra account giveaway we're going to do one this weekend and next. So he gave us $100. We're going to give away 2 accounts today, $100 worth, $50, $50, and then another double next weekend. So we're giving away 100 bones right now, 100 bones next weekend. You guys know how to do it. Let's go to the YouTube random comment picker here. Get this baby rolling, my favorite part. Oh, I didn't spell that right. He's giving back, watching winners win. That's not the one I always use, is it? It doesn't look like it. Hey, this is the one. That's not even the right screen, Brandon. All right, there we go. Super tech savvy, as you guys love to watch me fumble on the interwebs. Yeah, big thanks. Big shout out to buddy here. Just random BRT member, just showing love, man. That's what it's all. That's what our community is about. People that are doing well help other people that are doing well, vice versa. All right, back to the YouTube. Let's pick last week's video 2 days ago, pre-market. We'll do this one right here. We need a $13,000 pre-market. If you commented on this video, you liked it, and you are subscribed, you got a chance to win. We got the link in. We're giving away a hundo, 50 and 50. Split it up, baby. Let's go. Filter duplicates. Yep. Action entries filter. All done. 6 plus 5. Ooh, another 11. Do we hear 11 in the chat again? All right, we're going to get those YouTube comments, see how many there are. Only 16 of you. You got some good chances to win. People are getting lazy. Don't want to win free money. I like it. Let's go. Account number 1. Or cash number 1. I keep saying account. Samuel, 7594. Appreciate the nice job. Nice compliments. 622 was that comment. 16 entries total. My boy. If you are in chat. Oh, that's you. Is that you right there? That's got to be. Samuel, there he is. All right, brother. Send me an X message. All right. You got 50 bones coming. PayPal or Venmo. All you got to do is send me your details. Cash money coming your way. And the next winner, we got to give away another one. Pick another winner. Redo. Same video because I like it because only 16 comments. 16. That's it. So you guys got great chances here. We like having a small channel because you guys have way better chances to win. Another $50 pump fakes. 5 plus 6 is 11. We got 11s everywhere today, boys. Mr. Pump Fake, what's happening, my man? Grats. Please reach out all the way into the X and send me your Venmo or PayPal. Congrats, man. So Pumpcake 56, you got her. Not sure if you are in here on the live. I do see Sam in here, so please reach out, Sam, if you got PayPal or Venmo, or if it's something out of the country, you don't have American soil stuff, we'll figure something out for you. And send you some crypto or something like that. We'll see. So big congrats to our 2 winners. Oh, please reach out. Send me a little picture. Shows you're subscribed, right? On X, which I know most of you are. I can see because I got such a small channel. I always search it, but just in case. And that's it. That's a wrap, my friends. So we're going to do some pre-market videos tomorrow morning. I didn't do any real hardcore trading tonight. I really want to see this stuff digest. Post up some new YouTube videos. If you guys want to be entered in next weekend's cash giveaway, we're going to do them Saturday or Sunday. For the recording, and I might do it during the week instead. I'll obviously make a post, but all you got to do is comment. Doesn't matter if you're here or not live, you still win, so no hassle there at all. So congratulations for those 2. Please reach out if you want to hook up and do this with me live every single morning. Links are in the description, my friends. That is it. We are tired, having a good weekend. We got lots of sun, lots of good family stuff. And that is forward more predictions, whatever the word I'm supposed to be there. Coming Monday, we're going to do recaps every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Make sure to drop a comment, be subscribed, win some cash next week. And as always, that's all I got to do. We'll see you guys in the morning. Take care. Trade safe. Get some rest.